Alright, so in today's video, I got the Platinum Trophy on Horizon Forbidden West. This is a sequel to the original Horizon game from Sony. I also did make a video on that one forever ago. Shout out to the good old days. But this game has quite a few trophies in it, with 59 total including the Platinum. And it takes 40 hours for a casual player to Platinum it, but it only took me 24 to do. Anyways, this is also a part of a challenge where I've been trying to Platinum over 100 games suggested by the community. And if I can't complete them all before the channel hits 850,000 subscribers, then I have to shave my head and look like a base character from a video game. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. So beginning with stage 1 of this trophy list being to just beat the story, and there thankfully isn't any missable trophies as well, which brings happiness into my soulless vessel of a body. But this game's story kind of just picks up right after the others ending. Although we don't have anything unlocked in terms of gameplay tools, which I thought was kind of weird, and so did a lot of the internet. But the intro of this game lasts an hour long, which is kind of crazy because the main story itself wasn't really all that long in general. But this game's entire plot point has Aloy, the girl, quote-unquote girl, we play as trying to stop this evil AI named Hades. That's honestly the most evil name you could give anyone, so W parents. But it's causing this corruption of the entire planet that is killing everything. And if any animal consumes the red corruption on plants, for example, they also get sick and die. So it's just a really bad thing that's happening. Oh yeah, and there's also still that massive subplot of Aloy wanting a mother more than anything.
No,
Hear me out, girl. Focus on yourself for once. Mother isn't gonna save the day today. But the first main goal in the saving of the world was for us to find Gaia, who is like this good AI and has a ton of secrets and info on how to save everybody. So for about 40 minutes, we literally just ran around data centers and ruins trying to find the Gaia backup. At one point, we also had to climb a giant crumbling tower and make it fall into some machines below. But one of them didn't get hit, and it was this giant snake enemy that we then did fight. And yes, I am playing this on the easiest difficulty. If you have a problem with that, take it up with my manager and join the Discord below. But after winning the fight against the snake, we would finally reach the Gaia backup, and just in time to see it get snagged by some other dude who is evil. A classic. We then went to one more place, and it was just this little village that had been temporarily destroyed by this giant black tower in the middle of it full of evil. So we climbed it and then shoved our spear into its scrotum to conquer and establish dominance. Once that was finished, the town was saved for the time being, and a cutscene then played with the title screen finally showing. Holy shit, that was the most boring and long game intro ever. It actually felt like watching paint dry, but accompanied with a woman who can be best rated at a 6. Anyways, here's the first story trophy. So then the game was in motion, and we began the classic Horizon story flow. Go to the objective giver, then run or fast travel to the objective, kill a machine or two, and then run back. S-tier AAA quality right there, baby. But after we did this a few times, we ended up quote-unquote cleansing the area and being allowed to leave. Yes, we are like a slave, but for killing things. And here's a trophy once they allowed us to leave the area.
Oh my god!
Before the video continues, I want to say a huge thanks to Raccoon Logic for sponsoring this video. And I want to tell you all about their brand new game called Revenge of the Savage Planet. It's a joyous, upbeat, action-adventure sci-fi satire where you and a friend explore a wacky and wonderful alien world. Jump, shoot, and collect your way through 4 vibrant planets, collecting new gear and upgrades, while uncovering the various secrets hidden throughout. It launches on PC via Steam in the Epic Games Store, Xbox Series X and S, and PS4 and PS5 on May 8th, with early access on May 5th if you purchase the Cosmic Hoarder Edition. And for those of you on PlayStation, if you purchase the game within the first month of launch, you will also receive the Cinco de Mayo Trash Panda suit in addition to the game itself. But some of my personal favorite key features of the game are its third-person online crossplay and co-op. You can play with your best friend, partner, or hell spawn between any PlayStation and in third person, which is my favorite personal game point of view. There's also couch co-op with split screen, and the game is a space action adventure, for Christ's sake. It truly couldn't get better. So make sure to check out the link in the description below to wishlist and pre-order now on all the platforms previously mentioned. Revenge of the Savage Planet releases once more on May 8th, and huge thank you to Raccoon Logic for sponsoring this video. As I progress forward, I would also run right into a massive battle against the rebels. And even after platinuming this game, I'm still not sure what they are rebels of. But I guess when you can't come up with a good team name, that always sounds kind of cool. However, the fight was actually quite long, and I wish I could relate. But once we defeated all of the goons, Aloy then asked the leader to come fight her now, and this is what she had to say. Wise words, old one. So instead, we chatted up some other dude who was chill, and then another trophy popped. My next trophy was then also from the story, and it took me almost 2 hours more of playtime to get. And that's mostly because I had us go into a massive, and I mean massive, underground cave that held a ton of secrets and also very confusing paths in which I was not always sure where to go. Yes, I know, Its Illusion gets lost in game. Who would have thought that one? But this was also the place where we would find Gaia and even set up a base. Now, I don't know why this game has a base in it, but you literally get a base for planning, and that's about it. Overall, this is just another dumb add-on to the Horizon games, a lot like the Lego Horizon games, which was also mid. But once I did set up the base and got Gaia working, we got this trophy. And I then played for another hour straight of the story, and it's so forgettable that I honestly forgot what the hell we were doing. But we fought a giant snake, which is cool. In fact, if this game just had boss fights the whole time, I would even go to say it would be a fun game, but it rarely does. So that's just a fantasy dream. However, defeating that snake allowed us free access to this place we were in's throne room. And below the throne room was an item called the Aether, which Gaia requested we get for her, or it. I don't know if the AI has a gender, but if it did, it would probably just be the Zuck. Anyways, once I went back to Gaia and gave her the Aether, it popped me another story trophy. The next mission then led us into another spooky, scary cave. And it really doesn't help that I'm afraid of the dark. But there was multiple of these specter enemies within them that I had to fight. And this is one of the hardest enemies of the game because they have very small weak points and my aim is so trash I can't hit them to begin with. And we were also escorting out this girl named Beta, who is yet again another clone of Aloy's mother or the original version. And I think this might be one of the most dumb, annoying plot points I've ever seen a game do to date. Mostly because Beta is just Aloy except more annoying and stupid. So now we got two of her dumb brain thoughts in the same room. This world is so cooked, bro. However, yes, it was a trophy once we saved her. And if you thought that what I just said was valid and that Beta is indeed a beta and boring, well, let me make it worse for you. The next part of this game had us in the underwater missions. Yup. Just to make this game quote-unquote interesting from the eyes of the developer, they filled an entire cave with water and called it story enhancements. I see what you're doing, and no, I'm only slightly schizophrenic. So yeah, this entire mission and part of the game is just with us swimming, which is incredibly slow and, again, boring. However, once we finally got rid of the water, which was the goal the whole time, man, even the game doesn't want us to have that shit in it. You then just battle a ton of big and hard enemies. The depth of this game's story is about as thick as the average drywall in a newly built American home. And we did all of that just so we could grab a data drive called Poseidon and then bring it back to the base and give it to Golden Mommy. In return for a trophy, of course. And that's literally what this game's story is right now, by the way. You just go fetch in very odd areas and then bring them back to Golden Mommy. It's insane how much of a fetch quest game Horizon Forbidden West really is. But hey, at least the graphics are good, right? And yeah, as I just said, I then went and fetched another item, then gave it to Mommy for a trophy. On my next fetch quest though, I also reached level 20 for my first leveling trophy of the game, which was cool. And then everything began to just burn. It was actually a fun time. I think we should almost let the world of Horizon fall apart because that's the only point when things get interesting. A peaceful world, I say let it burn, baby. And once we achieved irreversible lung damage from the smoke, I got a trophy for sealing our fate. I had also ended up in another big underground mission and we had to fight a giant ass enemy called the Slaughter Spine, which I killed no problem at all. And then after it was dead, I picked up one of those heavy weapons I shot off of it, which popped me a trophy from carrying 5 different heavy weapons. And at this point in the game, it's kind of nearing the end game, so they finally allowed us to override flying machines and then fly around with them. The flying mechanics of this game are also that of a game like Ark Survival Evolved, so when they work, it's great. But if not, it's like using a cheese grater on a protruding Howie Mandel asshole, if you know what I mean. But aside from that shit I just said, this finally let us get on top of tall necks, which were also in the last game. And they function the exact same in this one. However, because of the flying creatures, it actually makes getting on top of them very, very easy as you would expect. But once I did override my first one, it was a trophy. But after that, we reached another main story fight, and it was against that rebel leader from forever ago who has also been occasionally coming in to ruin our lives like my exes do to me on occasion as well. Hashtag relatable. But we defeated her and then got to choose her fate, and deciding to kill her was my choice. The only correct one, and then a trophy popped. Oh yeah, and then it was the final mission of the game. Yes, that was kind of sudden, but to be honest, it's also a very fast and underwhelming mission overall. Which is sad because in comparison to the first game's final mission, it makes it look even worse. I can still clearly remember that game's final story mission was like a giant battle with stuff happening everywhere and very cool. But this one just had us fight this alien movie ass looking machine and then recuperate friendships. This game is truly the definition of the friends we made along the way are all that matter type. But hey, the credits were cool. Look, we were flying through them. That's so unique and fun. I'm also pretty sure the Squirrel with a Gun game did that as well. Anyways, here's that final main story trophy. So now it's time for stage 2, which is to go through and complete a ton of side quests required for trophies. However, I only tickled this stage for a little bit before deciding, nah, I can't do this game's side quests right now. They are somehow more boring than the main story. So I instead just went over to stage 3 of the trophy list and did some random trophies because that at least gave me something to do that wasn't totally stupid. And the first first trophy I got here was just from upgrading a weapon 3 times. And it's advised to do all upgrade trophies on green rarity, so you have a higher likelihood of having the materials and they're always easy to get. I then got another upgrade trophy a bit later from fully unlocking a surge skill. Surge skills are like an ultimate move in a hero shooter, for example. They charge up as you get kills and then you use them for a great advantage. I had also began trying to do some cauldrons in the game. There was quite a few of them, and if you don't remember these from the first games, they're basically just giant underground factories that all make something scary and have a ton of puzzles in them to just get to the core. On the way during this first one, I also did get a trophy from tearing off 100 components from machines, which is nice. And then I did reach the core and overload it, with it being my first for another trophy pop. Still in the cauldron, however, I would encounter the last transport machine I needed to for another combat trophy. And I did this cauldron in particular because I had a tall neck being manufactured inside of it. That same tall neck was also the last one I needed to override for that trophy pop, which I would then get because I did free it finally. A few minutes later, I also got another combat trophy from killing all of the recon machines. Yet again, it's another type of machine in the game. And if you couldn't tell at this point, I was also going around the game trying to find all of the machines I hadn't yet and both scan them but also kill them for various trophies, with my next being from scanning all of the machine types finally. And while fighting some machines right in that same area, I would reach level 34 and another trophy pop. I then just got a random upgrade trophy. Lame, I know, just like you. And then I decided to go do another cauldron, and I spent 30 minutes in this one just wandering around getting lost, and I got 0 trophies, which is awesome. But that then led me, or inspired me, to go on a trophy acquiring spree. Getting so many trophies, it almost resembled when a girl says she just wants to find herself and dumps you for 12 guys in a year. But I obtained all of the weapon classes for this trophy right here. I then went and killed every acquisition machine and combat machine, followed with simply stuff killing 10 machines total. And that was a lot of violence, so I just glided for a long time next to cool off some steam. It has to be done. And here's a trophy from that. It then took me another hour of playtime, but I finally got every cauldron core overridden and achieved true serenity within myself. And that then allowed me to be able to override all of the machines in this game as well. So I went and did that on all of the regular mounts, and then also literally started riding them for this trophy to pop. I then finally spent the skill points I had on skills, and I fully unlocked the bow and arrow skill tree, or the hunter for you educated individuals. But as you can tell, I had just done multiple random trophies. So I decided to do one that was a bit more of a grind, and I completed 4 rebel outposts. Very boring again, you just kill people. But what was actually surprisingly fun and cool is this game's gauntlet races. You ride a machine with a bunch of other NPCs and then have to race them all, and it's not easy by any means. But if you win twice, you get this trophy pop. I then completed my first rebel camp. Now, rebel camps are different than rebel outposts because rebel outposts require you to just kill people and basically nothing else, whereas rebel camps require you to both kill people, but then also solve like a damn mystery and shit. Then you go and destroy things. Higher educated warfare, apparently. But here's the trophy from the first one regardless. I also completed 3 relic runes next, which was totally random, but it's just a collectible that again required some actual thought. And I actually think more planning went into these than that of which went into the game's main story, but that's just me. And by the way, I had got bored of the rebel camps, so instead I just did all the arena challenges, which was a lot of fun. And that's because it is just a fight, and multiple of them at that. So here's a trophy once I beat them all. I then got 2 trophies for upgrading things. First for upgrading 3 outfits to the max, and then 1 for upgrading a weapon with 2 weapon coils. I then got a trophy from winning this very odd chess type game in the Horizon universe. But the dude I was playing against low-key threw the game, so I didn't feel good about winning and getting the trophy, but I'll still take it. And after that, I chased down the last element I had yet to inflict on an enemy. And it was the purple one, which is called Plasma Blast, and actually quite good. But all the trophy required was to inflict it, and then it popped. There was then an odd trophy for doing 3 melee combos. And this game's melee combos are cool and awesome when they work, but I had trouble getting some of them to function, which is kind of odd. I also do believe this game's combat is shit, but here's the trophy anyway. I then just ran around and overrode 10 different machine types for a totally random trophy next, and I got 2 more random trophies after. First for upgrading every pouch type, and then using a dye on my outfit. We are also now nearing the end of stage 3's random trophies, which had quite a lot as you can tell. And the next one I did get was just from finding 5 different types of collectibles. And thankfully this game does not require you to find every single collectible, because they almost all require a puzzle to get and are not just a simple pickup like most games. But then I did begin a sort of side quest, which was to defeat the Enduring. And this is just a fancy name for Will Smith's husband. But once I won the melee battle, it gave me the trophy pop. And I then grinded out the Hunting Grounds next, another staple in the Horizon games that nobody enjoys. You get an objective and have to go do it on a bunch of machines herded mindlessly in a field below, but thankfully they aren't really hard in this game compared to the other one. And you also don't need to even do all that good to get the trophies from the Hunting Grounds. So here's both of them popping. And that was then it for stage 3. So now it's time to return finally to stage 2 and do all the side quests I need for those trophies. And I'm not gonna lie, I just put my head in the sand and sped through these because I just don't care. I just don't. The game game's main story was mid, and the side stuff is just like salt to spice up the mid. But as we all know, salt is barely a spice unless you're that white. But yeah, I did all these side stuff that was required, and as you have seen, the trophies popped when the missions were finished. There's not too much to say, but I do appreciate the game for not making us do 100% of the side quests, just those that are tagged to trophies. And my last trophy was then from reaching level 50. So I had a bit more levels to grind. Yeah, that sucks. Thankfully, I found a good method of just killing this machine called a thunder jaw. Shout out to Big Dog for that one. But every time you kill it, you get around like 5,000 to 6,000 experience, which is very good. And then you can just fly at a distance, then back, and it will respawn the guy in for you to kill again. But even with this being a fast method, I did still have to sit here and farm kills on the same enemy for like 4 hours straight, which kind of blew. I got very bored, and it was bad. It's safe to say I had enough of this game by the time we finally reached level 50 with the trophy popping and the platinum trophy added on. So that was the Horizon Forbidden West platinum trophy experience. Overall, I think the game is just very mid. It's not like a bad game, but it's definitely not a fun one. I didn't really find any interest in it from the get-go, and its only real redeeming quality was that the trophies were easy and simple to get, so that's good. And yeah, that's it. Rating it out of 10, I'll give it a solid 4, and I have to poop now.